I am the type of person who quits before I can fail. And sometimes that means not even trying. I could go into a whole life, a childhood, the kind of schooling that I was in to describe all of that to you. But I have realized that my biggest hindrance is not even trying to achieve my dreams because I'm so scared of failure, and I just automatically assume it's not going to work out. I automatically assume that I don't want to put my energy into that because it's just not going to work out. But at the same time, I have this light, this fire inside of me that wants more than the average life. My biggest goal in life is to make money, a decent amount of money, to have a comfortable life and never, ever have to work a 9-to-5 a day in my life. Ever again. Don't get me wrong, I love the job that I work now. I work at a coffee shop, but that is the fuel to get me towards my dreams so that I can be working that job while I'm building the life of my dreams. That was my goal when I went into that job 3 months ago. And I have done very little to work towards my dreams, to work towards my goals. And I'm realizing I have to give it my best shot. I don't want to wake up at 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, however old, and have the regret that I didn't try hard enough to have the life of my dreams. Does that make sense? So, from now until the end of the year, the end of 2025, December 31st, I am going to be giving it my all. Whatever that means. Now, I don't necessarily know what I want to do with my life. YouTube is one of the things. I know that I'm creative, but not necessarily artistic. I know that I love people. I know that I love sharing my soul and my spirit with others. I know I love helping people. I know I love spending my days with slow and intentional living, and I'm passionate about helping other people learn how to live an intentional life regardless of what stage of life they're in. Now I'm at this beautiful point in my life where I'm 24 and I still live with my parents and I'm a single mom. And maybe to some people you're like, beautiful, what do you mean? But that means that I can create whatever life I want to live. And I still have this youth and this vitality and this belief, this joy for life, that my life can be whatever the hell I want it to be. That I can go after my dreams, that I can create my dream life. That doesn't mean I necessarily know how I'm going to create it, but I know that I'm going to create it. So I'm going to dedicate the rest of the year to me. And this isn't necessarily for anyone else, although I do want to do this to show and inspire others to do the same, that your life is your own and you can go in whatever direction you please, and that your dreams are worth chasing and worth catching and worth fulfilling. But at the end of the day, it's for me. I need to learn how to be more intrinsically motivated. I want to look back on 2025, regardless of what success I may or may not have in this experiment. Look back and know that I gave it my all, and then go from there. So, if you want to join in on this, I will be sharing for the rest of this video what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do this, and I'd love if you followed along on the journey. And if you want to join me in this, if you are ready for a life of your dreams, then I would love if you joined me. And this isn't going to be the type of challenge where I'm doing like 75 hard for the rest of the year. I would never do 75 hard. No offense to anyone who does it. That's great. I love that you have that level of discipline. But I believe that I and you can achieve my dreams by going slow and resting often. And I'm really excited to see what the rest of the year brings. I think I'm feeling inspired because it's spring. Yesterday was the spring equinox. So yeah. I feel like if I want to go after the life of my dreams, I need to get my shit a little bit more organized. I have been so anti-discipline for about 3 years now. And I just gotta get a little more disciplined. I can show up to work, I can do all of those things. I'm disciplined in that. I'm disciplined in my health, but I'm not disciplined when it comes to chasing after my dreams. And I don't want to fall into the category of people who have a dream and never go after it wholeheartedly because I'm too scared of the steps that it's going to take to get there, or I feel unmotivated or uninspired. And that is going to come. And I don't think that I'm always just going to push through the not being motivated. I don't think that that's necessarily healthy to go 100% all of the time. I do believe that I can accomplish my dreams by going slow and resting often, but that doesn't mean that I'm not disciplined. So I just ordered a planner on sale because it's March and I ordered a whole year planner for 2025. I'm gonna watch some videos about people on YouTube getting disciplined and how they're creating content. And yeah, I have to bet on myself. I have to bet on myself. So I feel like one of the number one things, possibly the number one thing that has gotten in the way of me pursuing my dreams and actually accomplishing things is my lack of discipline, which I know I've already mentioned, but it is very apparent in my life. I was the overachiever growing up, super disciplined, super motivated, perfectionist all the way around. And then I got to college and kind of went the opposite way. And now I'm realizing that I need to come back and develop some more discipline. So in terms of this goal, this discipline that I'm developing for the rest of the year, I had to get crystal clear on what it is that I am going after and small, actionable, attainable things that I can do in order to accomplish these goals that I have. So grabbed a journal and went through and wrote down exactly where I am right now in my life. Then I went through and I wrote down where I want to be a year from now or by the end of 2025. And then I just kind of journaled and brain dumped about that, about different categories and aspects of my life. And then I went through and bullet pointed things that I wanted to do so that I could kind of have it in one place. Then I went through how will I do it? And I broke it into different categories. And those categories are lifestyle, so friends, relationships, finances, home, creativity, and then an etc. category, because there were other things that didn't fit into those categories but were equally important. They just didn't have enough bullet points in them to make them their own category. So let's start with lifestyle. Friendships and relationships, how I'm interacting with people in the world really is what I was thinking of. I want to be, which I guess I could rename this friendships and relationships, but I want to be more intentional, and that's kind of the overarching idea in everything on this list, and what I want my YouTube channel to be about is an intentional living. So it's funny that that keeps coming out even when I'm not purposely thinking of it. I want to be intentional when it comes to my friendships and my relationships. I want to reach out to people. I used to be like that, but over the last 5 years since the pandemic started, I got pretty antisocial and socially anxious. So I want to reach out to people more. I want to foster intentional connections with others. I want to say yes more often. I've gotten into this space again since the pandemic of saying no to things or feeling like I'm too tired or this, that, and the other, and also part of that social anxiety. So saying yes to opportunities when they present themselves, not always saying yes to the point where I'm neglecting my own needs. But if I'm on the border and I know that it's the social anxiety that's keeping me from going, just saying yes, pushing past the fear and doing it anyways, because it usually yields a really fun time. Invite people. Again, this is another thing that I used to do often, and then I stopped inviting people because social anxiety, but that started more in high school. I want to invite people, whether it be over for a cup of coffee or tea or for dinner, or invite my friends over for a play date with our daughters, or invite people to go to concerts or just fun little events, things to do. Be the one to invite others and to bring people together who may not know each other. I think I felt insecure in inviting people to things because I don't have a solid group of friends. I just kind of have friends sprinkled around, and it's been that way for a while, but I do know that I'm good at bringing people together, and that the people that I introduce to each other usually become really great friends. So that's a gift of mine that I can continue to share with others. Get out more and get off of my phone, and leading into that, put myself out there and start conversations more often. That means when I'm going to a coffee shop, I'm not just standing there on my phone, but making conversation with the baristas, or going to a bookstore and doing that, going to a restaurant, wherever I may be, putting myself out there and making small talk, doing a little bit of exposure therapy, if you will. All right, the next category is finances. Oh, this one. I really struggle with this one. Get some financial advising. This is something that I have someone who's going to help me sit down and create a budget and what's important to me, how I want to spend my money, what money I have to spend, how much I can allow myself for each thing, which goes into my next point of creating a budget and sticking to it. I am not great with money. Point blank period. I'm not great with money. I impulse buy, and then I feel bad about impulse buying. Maybe I need a budget every month, like a $30, something small, right? Of an impulse buying budget, so that I don't feel bad about my impulse buying. Maybe there's an idea. We'll figure that out in my financial advising meeting. I want to save more than I spend. Another thing I don't think I've ever done. Save more than I spend and give where I can. So that means donating causes to things that I care about, even if it's just $5, $10, $20 here and there, just having money to give to people when I can. Another one, be intentional about what I buy. Again, there's that word intentional that keeps replaying in my life subconsciously. So that means that I'm not just buying things on a whim. When I'm going to Goodwill or thrifting or anything like that, that I am being very intentional about what I'm going in there for, and not just letting the thrift gods take over and then I spend way more money than I want to, and then I can only return it for in-store credit and yada yada yada. So being intentional about what I buy, having a reason that I'm buying it, and probably having multiple reasons that I'm buying it. The next category is home, just overall. One of my biggest goals for 2025, this might actually be the biggest goal for 2025, is to move out. I've been living with my parents since I had my daughter, and while that is great, I am really ready to be on my own and to have a space of my own to share with my daughter. And that's a really big goal of mine for this year, which will of course require financial maturity and responsibility. But that's the number one goal, is to move out, create a loving and cozy home, have plants, make it a space where love lives and grows. Lately I've been driving, and whenever I see a beautiful magnolia tree outside, or someone's house has a bunch of daffodils in the front yard, the first thing that comes into my mind is, oh, love lives there. Love grows in that home, and so the earth is blessing it with more growth. I don't know, that's just what I think, and that's the kind of home I want to have. I would also love to have a garden. I'm going to start it here at my parents' house, but if I move, I will start a garden there or come back here. Yeah, I just want a space that feels like my own. I want it to be beautifully but practically decorated. I really love the 2000s core that's happening right now, or the 90s 2000s core. You know how Lorelai Gilmore's house feels like, it's obviously 90s core, but it's cozy but also eclectic. That's the vibe I'm going for. Having plants, having just a safe space for myself and my daughter. And of course I want to host friends and loved ones. So all of these tie in together. This idea of creating a home ties into the financial responsibility, and then it ties into the friendships and relationships that I want to create, and then it ties into my creativity category, and they all kind of intertwine together, which is fun and beautiful and not something I was intending. But the next category is creativity. I have been trying to rework that creative muscle that I have. Again, I'm creative, but not necessarily artistic. And I'm trying to rework that creative muscle I have. I'm currently taking a pottery class, which I'm so excited about. I'm only 2 weeks into it. It's so much harder than I remember it being, but I think I'm starting to get back into the hang of it, and that is a really intentional practice for me. And it's also creative practice, something to do with my hands, something to calm my mind. So that's one of the big things, is to take a pottery class, which I'm already doing, so pat on the back there. Overall, I want to pursue creativity wherever it shows up. So whether that be through my YouTube videos, content creation, in the way that I dress, in the way that I decorate things, and collaging, and having creative solutions to problems that I'm trying to overcome, like keeping creativity in mind and pursuing it. I want to spend more time in places that inspire me, get out of the house more, spend more time in nature and just noticing things. This also requires me to get off my phone more often, because I will be needing to focus on the outside world in order to be inspired. I want to play around with my clothes more. I've gotten pretty stuck in a certain way of dressing. I think winter does that for me. I also just think, again, I haven't been working that creativity bone. I think I really need to purge my closet and get some fun new pieces that are versatile. So again, this also goes back to the financial responsibility piece, guys. It's all coming together. But yes, pursuing creativity in all areas of life. And then lastly is my etc. category. It was originally called career and discipline, and then I realized it's a career, discipline, health tied in together. So first things first is to develop discipline. So I bought a planner, which is another aspect of my life that was missing. Oh, it kind of matches my shirt. Slay! It's almost exactly, this is a little more periwinkle than this one, but cute. Okay, got a 2025 planner, half off, because I got it in March. And I'm realizing that that's kind of a big part of my life that was missing, is I didn't have a place to write things down. Now, I haven't tried a lot of like the online digital planning things. I personally prefer pen or paper, although I may end up doing both, so that if I forget this at home one day, I'm not just like, oh shoot, I can't be productive now because I'm at work and have an hour break and I don't have my planner, so I can't get anything done. So maybe I'll do both. Give recommendations if you have any, but using this to plan my entire life. What comes with that, another goal I have, is to make and post one YouTube video a week. Every single week for the rest of the year, and actually until next spring is when I'm starting that goal. So from equinox this year to equinox next year, making and posting one YouTube video every week. And that is going to require me to plan it out. Also planning my life according to my cycle. I'm really big into cycle syncing and living my life according to my menstrual cycle. So writing in here what day I'm on, and when I'm ovulating, I can obviously do a lot more, so I can schedule more time to hang out with my friends, or I might feel more confident to be in front of a camera, so making a lot of videos during that time. And then when I'm on my period and resting, not scheduling as much. Another goal of mine that also has to do this, so maybe this is just my planner category, I want to move my body intentionally 3 times a week. This is also going to require some scheduling of around cycle syncing, and again, when I'm on my period, doing more yoga, when I'm ovulating, going and doing weights and such, and just getting into a routine with moving my body intentionally. That doesn't mean I'm not moving my body 4 out of 7 days a week, but intentionally doing some sort of workout or movement 3 days a week. So yeah, those are my goals for the rest of 2025 and maybe even into 2026. I'm really excited to see where I am a year from now, and if I can just stop my BS and overcome myself, because I do think that I am my own personal largest obstacle, which is probably the case for a lot of people. But I fully and wholeheartedly believe that I am capable of this, and it is about damn time that I prove to myself that I am fully capable of this. Look at me. mug in my hand. Maybe I'll steep up some tea real quick. That's better. Another aspect of creating the life of my dreams, and this can sometimes be the part that I get stuck in instead of the action, is aligning myself with the belief and the embodiment that the life of my dreams is out there, that I'm capable of achieving it, and that I can live my life as if I were living my dream life right now. Hear me out on that. No, I do not have the house that I want to live in. No, I do not have the job that I want to have. No, I don't have the house that I want to live in, or the land that I want to have, or the wealth, or the time, or the hobbies, etc., etc., etc. But instead of just falling into that, I choose to live my life as if those things are already mine. And maybe you can call this delusion, you can call this whatever you want to. Maybe it's a little woo-woo for you, but for me it's so important, right? So the job I have right now allows me at least one weekday to stay at home with my daughter every week. Ultimately, my goal is to stay at home with my daughter more than half of the days in the week. So I have that one day where I get to live my dream life every single week. Or my dream life, I am drinking teas and I have a garden and I'm basically just like a cozy rabbit living in a cottage in a storybook. And so I will do things that align myself with that. Now, that doesn't mean that I am spending money like I am making 6 figures every year, although I could. But that means that I'm not feeling nervous every time I buy myself a latte. It's all about mindset and about embodying the belief in yourself that your life is out there. And honestly, I'll make a future video on this topic just about embodying and envisioning and believing the life you want is out there and living like it right now. And no, I'm not a master manifester. I don't spend all my time manifesting or thinking about manifesting. I do some manifestation techniques, but not things that I have to like put a whole lot of effort into. This is just the way I live my life. And maybe it's my strong imagination from being a child. Maybe it's just straight up delusion, but I just feel like it's going to happen. I believe that good things are going to happen to me and to the people that I love. And so I'm walking through the world as if those things are already happening. And I've started to see the beauty in so many different places. And I think that that really helps in chasing after your dreams or envisioning and creating the life that you dream of. If you feel inspired, I do hope that you'll join me, and I hope that we can create a community here to create the lives of our dreams, regardless of how old you are or what stage of life you're in. I'll be posting YouTube videos weekly. You can check in with me there. I'll check in with you there, show you what I'm up to, hopefully post more videos to inspire you in your life, post videos on what I'm doing in my life, post videos about intentional living and creativity and building a home and all the things that I just talked about. So if that interests you, I would love if you subscribed and just joined along.